Bass Guitar Fundamentals, lesson number 2. Let's go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's lesson. In the last lesson, we learned how to divide the strings by playing along these visual markers that kind of come with your bass. But in today's lesson, we're going to talk about a musical concept that we want to apply to the bass so that we can really start understanding not just the fundamentals of the bass guitar, but also the fundamentals of music. And there's really no better place to start than with the major scale. The major scale is one of the most fundamental pitch structures of music. It's probably actually the most fundamental pitch structure in all of music. And there's so many reasons for this, because melodies come from this scale, and harmonies come from this scale, and chords are derived from this scale, other scales are derived from this scale, and we use it as kind of a type of vanilla that we kind of compare everything to. You know, if you go into an ice cream shop, if the vanilla ice cream is not really, really good, then the rest of the ice cream in that ice cream shop probably isn't that good either. And the major scale is, in a way, kind of like a vanilla ice cream that is so important. It's really, really crucial that you understand how to make this scale happen. The way we're going to talk about this scale today is on the G string of the electric bass. The first thing we're going to play is the open G string, and that gives us the note G. This is where the scale begins. Then we find the second fret, and that gives us the note A. On the 4th fret, we get the note B, and then on the 5th fret, we get the note C. On the 7th fret, we find the note D. On the 9th fret, we get the note E. On the 11th fret, we get the note F sharp. And then on the 12th fret, we get the note G. So we play open, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 12. Now, thinking about the fret numbers when you're first starting out on the bass is really important because it helps you locate things. It gives you a visual marker of where you're at. And it's very easy to describe this to somebody by saying, well, we're going to play on the 2nd fret of the G string, or we're going to play on the 7th fret of the G string. But I want you to keep in mind that these ideas really only apply to the bass. They don't really... This is not how musicians think. So what I mean is that, you know, if you play, a major scale can exist on any instrument. A flute will definitely have major scales on it. A guitar has major scales on it. The piano has major scales on it. Any instrument that uses pitch in a significant way, the major scale can be found on that instrument. And musicians often don't, you know, other instruments don't think in terms of fret numbers. They think in terms of either 1, note names, or 2, scale degrees. Now, scale degrees is kind of a very important concept that I want to try to explain to you in today's lesson. The scale degrees help us keep track of where we are in the scale in a way that translates from instrument to instrument. So it's like, this is how musicians think in a way. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to get comfortable playing this scale up and down. At first, first, you're going to have to probably think about the fret numbers, especially if you're new to the instrument. But then, I want you to start thinking about the note names as well. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, and G. And then finally, I want you to start thinking about the scale degrees. So the G is the first note of the scale, A is the second, B is the third, C is the fourth, D is the fifth, E is the sixth, F sharp is the seventh, and then G is the eighth. But it's also the one because the low G and the high G are essentially the same note, just in different octaves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, this is important for so many reasons, and it's hard to go into all of these reasons right now without kind of going on a tangent and getting a little bit overly verbose. But let's suffice it to say that when you can think in terms of scale degrees, you can start to really understand how basic melodies fit with this scale. So the easiest one to conceptualize at first is this one. Right? I think we all recognize that sound, and it's just going straight down the scale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But then there's other melodies that also exist on the scale. Actually, thousands of melodies that exist on this scale, at least thousands, probably way more than that. But here's a couple of common ones. Or another one is. And then maybe one more. Learning to hear your way around melodies like this will really, really open up your musicianship and help you to learn to think like a musician. I heard Michael League, the bass player from Snarky Puppy, say in a recent interview that being a really good bass player is 95% brain. And what he was inferring there, in a way, is that it's not your technique on the instrument, although your technique needs to be together, and we will talk about some of that in these lessons. It's about the musical choices that you make. The musical decisions that you make are so crucial to being a great bass player. And it's not really about chops. It's about support. Being supportive of the musical situation that you're in is really what's going to make you a very good bass player and eventually a great bass player. Now, once you get the basic G major scale together on one string, on the G string, try playing around the scale in different ways. You don't have to just play it up and down. You can just make things up. It's okay to just jam and play and make up little, like make up your own musical words in a way. I'll make up a couple right now. Let's see if I can do this. So. Okay. Or maybe. Or maybe. I'm just trying to just find little phrases, tiny little cells. That's kind of how I think about these, like little pitch cells or little fragments of melody. And they help me learn to improvise and create my own thing on the bass. Now, once you get comfortable though with the G scale and you can improvise on it a little bit, let's try an experiment. Let's try taking this concept that we've just learned on the G string and applying it to the D string. So we'll keep the fret numbers the same and we'll try to play a major scale on the D string. Now what we find is that gives us a D major scale. And then if we apply it to the A string, well, now we're playing an A major scale. And then if we play it on the low E string, get an E major scale. This is really important to learn how to divide a string into a major scale because you can see it and you can hear it and it lays out in a very logical fashion that it's clear for your mind to observe and see the distances between things. And this is really important. Now, to end today's lesson, I want to kind of show you something that I'm not going to teach you just now, but I want to kind of take you up on the hillside and show you where we might be going. If I can get a G major scale together on one string, and I can improvise on that just a little bit. Eventually where we're going to go is we're going to see that this sound exists on the entire fingerboard of the bass. So check this out. And then if I could improvise on that, this really starts to open up my ability to be a complete musician and to really understand how to navigate the bass in a way that is musical and is grounded and rooted in principles of music, not necessarily in flashy technique things to do on the bass, but real substantial musical information. I really hope today's lesson was helpful to you. I hope it was insightful and easy to understand, easy to follow, and I hope it was well communicated. And I really appreciate the feedback that I got from the last lesson, and I would love to hear from you if this lesson was helpful or if there was something you felt like I was missing, and are there things that you might find useful for future episodes of this channel. We're going to continue to work on our improvisation. We're going to work on our rhythm. We're going to work on the fundamentals of bass guitar that help you become a fundamentally sound musician so that you can play with other people. That is the goal. The goal is to be able to play the bass and make it sound great and then plug it into a band or an ensemble or with other people, or maybe just playing along with records, which is something I highly recommend and something we'll definitely talk about in here. I hope you guys have have really enjoyed this. I hope you have a great week, whenever you end up watching this, whatever time that might be. I really do wish the best for all of you, and I'll see you on the next lesson. Take care.